Welcome, everyone. So, it's been quite a while since I've done one of these. I think the last one was about, I don't know, 6 months ago, give or take. And that was to celebrate 5,000 followers. And you guys have doubled that in just 6 months. The channel is doing great. It's still a very small channel, but it's going well. So, thank you guys for coming here, and I will start the show shortly. Yes, yeah, why don't we get started? So, welcome to Furry Found Footage's second live Q&A. This is your Dark Sorceress, Aurelina, and thank you all so much for being here. Once more, this uh, live event and Q&A is to celebrate the fact that my fans, my followers, have gotten us to 10,000 followers and actually 2,000 subs. So that's a really great, happened about the same time. So that's nice. And seeing that it's only been a year since I changed the channel and started uploading videos, that we've gotten to this point. So it's a big milestone for me. I really appreciate everyone's efforts, everyone's interest. And my archives are bursting. It's like I can't share stuff fast enough. So there's going to be content for many years to come. And by content, I mean uh, the content of my archive rather than the other interpretation of that word. It's kind of a loaded word these days. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I could talk about a couple more things here going into this. I kind of forget what I did last time, so we'll just go with it. So this is going to be a Q&A. That's question and answer. So I've got one question that was from my tweet announcement for the stream. So I'll do that one first. And then I'm going to open the floor so that if you guys want to ask a question, you can feel free to chime in, and I'll get to them one at a time. Okay. So before I start, I also want to give a little bit of background for those of you who are new to the channel or who are new to the Twitter account. We've actually been doing furry found footage since, gosh, 2015. And so originally what I did was go to thrift stores, video rentals, dumpsters, and get VHS tapes, digitize them. And being as this was 2015, a lot of this stuff wasn't really on the internet. So I kind of had to put together my own archives. And from there, I cut things together to make, I guess they're called clip shows. So they were basically a bunch of clip shows of things kind of comedically timed, out of context, all that. And we premiered those at Further Confusion, the con in California. Each year we try to premiere there because that's our home con. And yeah, it's been going great ever since. And the channel has pivoted to videos as well now. So thanks for suffering my voice for this long. Let's find that first question. Okay. So this is from AntBugs84, and this is on Twitter. This is a Twitter reply. And they write, "Who is your favorite Anthro Rabbit character? Also, are you planning a top 10 commercial rabbits video soon?" So this this channel, I'll answer the second one first. This channel was not really intended to end up as a commercial special. There are a lot of channels that do that. But I started researching commercials, and now I have something like 1,200 in my archive. So I've got to share them somehow. And doing the commercial videos is the best way to do that. So that's what I've been doing, kind of on and off. I like to stagger it, so I'll do an episode about a movie or a TV show or something like that, and then I'll do another one on commercials. So the next one I have planned is a doozy. The next movie-related one I have is a doozy, so that's going to take me a bit of time. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go back and maybe do another commercial. As for my favorite bunny video, or my favorite bunny character, yeah, that one's obvious, and let me go get her right now. Okay, let's move this over. And here she is, my favorite. Oh wait, it doesn't appear to be obeying. Well, I'm having a hard time getting my VLC to output to the stream. So I guess I'll pull something up on YouTube. Geez.
European price. Oh.
Sorry about that. Okay, here's my favorite rabbit character.
Come on, folks. From now on, Dreamy Cadbury's Caramel is down 3p in price to only 17p. So now you can all afford to take it easy. Cadbury's Caramel, now only 17p.
Yeah, so the immortal Cadbury's Caramel Rabbit starting in 1982. She was voiced by Miriam Margolyes, and I have, if I can find the clip, I'm going to play it.
I was particularly pleased that the first. We'll talk
Okay, here we go.
a little bit about the Cadbury Caramel Bunny. And the reason I want to mention, if we show the photograph of this bunny, because this bunny, for a lot of men of a certain vintage, will bring back all sorts of utterly inappropriate memories. How did this come about? What are your memories of voicing this ad?
Well, it's years ago.
Of course.
I had quite a deep voice. I think it's gone up a bit as I've got older.
All right.
But I had quite a deep, sexy voice. And I used to do what I call take-home wanking kit records.
Tell us about those. Now.
Well, I wasn't intending to talk about that.
No.
But
There seems to be a bizarre theme, a slightly sordid thread.
well, I got asked to to record the sort of tapes that people listen to alone, and they're very tiring. I can tell you that.
To record or listen to?
Well, I can tell you to record they're very tiring.
Okay.
I hope they're exciting to listen to. The most famous one I did was Sexy Sonia. Leaves from my schoolgirl diary. And because of the success of that,
Yes.
I was asked to do the Cadbury's bunny.
Suddenly I don't feel like a bar of chocolate right now. Did you? So it went from one to the other?
I did, and I don't remember the script, and I don't remember much about it, but they like sex sells things.
Yes, of course.
And that's why we're asked to do those kind of things.
Okay.
And I don't really do them anymore. In
No?
fact, they're too tiring. Honestly. In fact, the whole thing's too tiring, actually.
I just love that clip. Oh, there's a bit of a lag. Yeah, so so that's Miriam Margoyles talking about on a talk show, talking with another normal person about doing sex records, and then being asked to voice the Cadbury's Caramel Rabbit. So really, if people are talking about furries, furries aren't even really the originator of doing sexy things with animal characters. No, that comes from normal people and companies who are looking to spice things up, who acknowledge the fact that adults exist when they animate a character or when they decide on a character's voice. And you know what? I think I'm okay with adults existing. So that's my favorite bunny character. Probably always will be unless something really amazing comes out. Let me go to some more questions here. Let's see. Okay, so from the top of the stream, Mac Jeffy asks, have you seen the Simbacourt Wolf advert? Mac Jeffy, I have porn of the Simbacourt Wolf advert. So yes, but you can't see it because this is a family-friendly stream. You'll have to ask me in person. Okay, next up, Jeffrey Quick asks, for a future top 10 commercials, how about insects? Roaches, mosquitoes, beetles, bees, etc. Question mark. Yeah, that's definitely, I like to do these things by categories. So you see I've done wolves, I've done cows, and I would love to do one about insects down the line because that's an interesting group, and they do show up a lot in commercials, usually as fodder for insecticide. But yeah, I'd like to do something that actually shows them doing fun things, happy things, other than dying. Okay, next up, Bally asks, have you watched Mongrels? Yes, I have watched Mongrels. I've watched about a good chunk of the first season. It's pretty clever, pretty cute. It's nice seeing. Actually, it's surprising seeing the depths they go to, let's say, with their comedy, considering, isn't it on a public network over there? Isn't it on BBC or one of the BBC affiliates? Okay, another question. Do you, King Kaiju asks, do you think you'd return to making podcasts again, discussing lost or obscure media? So King Kaiju might have the inside track. I used to do a podcast with my co-host, Agudi Rex, now Bitter Corella. And we started just kind of talking about the fandom, talking about different paraphilias, about how people relate to them. And from there, we kind of got on all sorts of topics. We discussed things like scam websites by global sex tourism. This is kind of like a proto influencer type thing back then. There was like a guy who had a website ranking girls all over the world. So we trashed that guy. We found out that uh, what was it? It was like a teddy bear CD-ROM puzzle game thing that stole all their assets. So we talked about that. We talked a lot about obscure films. We would talk a lot about the golden films in particular, because we were finding those on VHS back then, and that's how they made their way into the Furry Found Footage compilation continuum. We make a lot of references to to golden films around the house these days. So the answer to the question, I think at this point, I'm going to stick with the YouTube show, because having a podcast and a YouTube show and a writing career and another career is a little too much, even for a superwoman like me, a super sorceress like me. So I've been invited on a couple podcasts, so I'll definitely be doing those. But that's probably all you'll see from me as far as an original podcast goes, for the time being. Another one from Bally. Have you thought about doing a collaboration with Blame It on Jorge? Um, I don't know. I haven't thought about really doing collaborations with anyone. I'm vaguely familiar with Blame It on Jorge. I think he's the guy who does like Lost Media or something. I'm still catching up with all these comments. Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for questions here. Unusual Bug asks, do you plan on doing a video on Gregory Horror Show? Oh my God, I would love to. I would really love to. There's so much there. Gregory Horror Show is a really interesting artifact of its time, because it's simultaneously this original story concept, but it also has its roots in shows like Night Gallery, Twilight Zone, because the way that it does its episodes are very centered on individual characters and individual little stories, but then it kind of all arcs together at the end. Really an amazing property. You guys should go check it out if you haven't seen it before. They had a PS2 game. So yeah, in the future I would love to do one, especially if I could get some footage of the game. You guys can keep asking questions, so feel free. Captain Kane asks, what inspired you to make your fursona? Okay, this is quite a question, because you might not know that my Sona has been around since 2002. Yes, that's right, 2002. Maybe I can even find the first picture I have of her. Give me just a second. There she is. Yeah, so this is a little pencil doodle I did probably late 2001. I was still a teen at the time. And so I was inspired to make my Sona because who doesn't want a Sona? I think she kind of started as a Sona and then became a character, and now she's kind of both. So, I had her kind of change many times over the years. She started off very, I guess generic. She didn't have a lot of like a story or anything like that. Back then, people really didn't do stories attached to their characters very much at all. They were very much just personas. In fact, some of the earliest characters, like original characters rather than personas, are from around that time, and there's really not that many of them. So Aurelina started as a Sona. She became, let's see, let's see if I can remember the all the incarnations. So she became briefly a princess, and then she was a goddess, and then she was a queen, and then she was the mayor of Zootopia, and then she was a councilwoman, and now she's a princess again and also a sorceress. So I've split her into two facets of my personality, I guess you could say. I have my softer side and I have my harder edge. So she's been a character that's stuck with me. The only fandom that I've really used her in, other than the furry fandom, was the Zootopia fandom, which really that's just an offshoot. I'm done doing that now. I don't think I'll ever insert her into a fandom ever again, just because fandoms like that or in a movie are so. First of all, they're filled with people who don't understand the message of the movie. And second of all, they tend to peter out really quickly, especially if there's not new content made. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Let me see if I can find some Aurelinas over the years. While we're here. Oh, that's a good one. I don't know where my background went all of a sudden, but that's pretty much how I looked circa 2007 to about 2014, 15. Hold on, let me go get my my background's gone. There we go. Let's see if I can find another one. Okay, here I am back when I was the mayor of Zootopia / councilwoman. I got defeated in the election. It was rough. This art is by my partner who is in this chat. That's Kaz M, aka Gentle Monster, aka Lucius Hardrive. Lucius Hargrave. Hargrave. That's Hargrave. Okay, I'll just get a couple more real quick. We have Aurelina Inception now. There's 2 Aurelinas. So this is the princess. She was started about 2019, I think. 2019. This art is by Cinnamon Kuhn. Cinnamon Kuhn. And yeah. So other than her, you have me, the sorceress. And that's my persona journey. So let me find another question. Okay. So my YouTube account got suspended asks, I'd imagine there is, but have you got a Discord server? No, actually there isn't. I have a private Discord server, but it's not for the show, of course, because I actually hate managing communities. Pretty much every time I get in some kind of community, the Zootopia fandom was a good example because they made me the mod, the admin, the head admin of that server for like 400 people, and every day it was the craziest interpersonal spats. I just could not handle it, and one day I left. And I don't want that to happen around my show. I don't want to start resenting my show because there are people with no respect for boundaries who come into a server, people who have no respect for the kind of conversations that they bring. And really, it just feels like a lot of extra work managing a server. Maybe someday in the future, but as of now, there is not. Okay, Slouchosis asks, do you still have your fursuit of Aurelina? Yes, I do. She's in the closet right now. I used to do videos with her. Those are kind of on hiatus because I have this big furry found footage project. The Orbit Dragon, the person who did my art for my avatar here is none other than it was me. Yeah, so I do a lot of pixel art on the side when I get a chance. So here I am. Here I am, hypnotized with love for my fans and followers. These really don't take me that long to throw together. I would like to give her more animation in the future, maybe more states, but yeah, this is my work. Okay, a lot of questions come in. Unusual bug. Another question about a collab. I don't really know any of these people, so I don't know how I would end up in a collaboration with them. But if people reach out to me, then yeah, sure, maybe that would be a possibility. Captain Kane asks, have you ever heard of an indie comic called Reynard's City Chronicles? No, I have not actually. Is it any good? Should I check it out? I don't do too much delving into comics. The major furry comics that I've read are Black Sad and Granville, both of which you should read. They're incredible. They can't really be overstated, the quality. I think you'll really like them if you're into comics, especially comics that are beautiful but also have a good, interesting story going on. Okay, Talindara asks, do you think you'll ever want to do an animated miniseries featuring Aurelina? Talindara, are you reading my diary? I would love to do some kind of animated miniseries, but this is a very small channel right now. Maybe if you all help me blow up, that'll happen. Okay. What else? Oh, you like the pixel art? Maybe I can show you some more. My head is too big. Yeah, so you guys can see here I have a little mock-up for a game with an animated princess. I actually made a demo, what's it called? A demo of the prologue, I guess, in the first chapter for this game. It actually features a bunch of different characters, each with their own story. Including villains. And occasionally I just paint with pixels. This is based on the cover of Brandish. Based on this cover. So yeah, I get around, I do things when I can. Yeah, go ahead and give me some more questions if you've got them, guys. So, Mr. Wright, what are furry characters do you hate the most? Mr. Wright, do you mean do you mean people's OCs, or do you mean like furry characters, like animal characters in cartoons or something like that? Try to think of something outside the box. There we go. There's a good one. Sartosis, is your background a picture of your house or someone else's? That is my day bed covered in my plushies. That's in my my office at home. The TV that you'll see in my episodes is also my TV. And gosh, that's a story. So I got it off eBay for a decent price. It got to my house basically completely broken. It was as if the mail had been playing, I don't know, using it as a giant shot put or something. So I had to take it to a guy who was capable of repairing a CRT television. And after that, I started smothering it in stickers and put it in that little spot with the curtains, and the rest is history. Okay, so Mr. Wright clarified furry characters in cartoons. Gosh. I'm having trouble. Maybe Kaz, you can jog my memory about characters that I hate. I usually don't. I dislike just about everything unless it's done with sincerity. So I should say a lot of the newer cartoons I'm not really a fan of, even if they do have furry characters, just because there's something missing when I compare them to older cartoons. So I don't really have characters that I like have a vendetta for, but I do have like archetypes that I'm not a fan of. So for example, there's a lot of shows, furry cartoons especially, furry comics. Actually, Black Sad is guilty of this, where they'll have this sexual dimorphism between the male characters and the female characters. And the male characters have total snouts, and the female characters just have like flat faces with noses. and it's super annoying. Um, Other than that, I really don't like kind of. I don't know. I don't enjoy furry characters when they don't have a good snout. If there's no snout, then throw them out. Um, what else? I thought I saw another one. Super Special World asks, have you ever had a really cool dream that you've always remembered? I have a dream diary actually, where I write down dreams that I can remember, and some of those have turned into stories. Because what I do when I'm not doing furry found footage is, in addition to being a professor, I also have a small writing career where I've got a couple of publications out. So I turn dreams into stories if I can. Patrick asks, what is something you're most excited about in getting or doing this year? Well, tomorrow I'm going to go horseback riding for the first time. It's my birthday next week, so I got a appointment, I guess, to go ride a horse with my partner. So that should be very exciting and maybe very dangerous. Hopefully not dangerous. Oh, Kaz, that's a great. So in reference to furry characters that I hate, if anyone's seen the new revival Three Muska Hounds movie, it's a movie that came out a couple years ago based on the old '90s Three Muska Hounds cartoon, which is a great cartoon. And for some reason in the movie follows like roughly the story of the cartoon, but they have this weird little mouse who's in it, and he doesn't really do anything. He's just there to comment on what's happening. And that's something that I really hate actually in new movies, where they'll take. That's another great example. We just watched the Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory again, and then that one, Tom and Jerry are just kind of thrust in while the story follows the same beats, but they're there to add, I guess, levity to a movie that is already a children's comedy movie. So, I don't know. I hate that. Shy Guy XXL asks thoughts on alligator ladies. Well, alligator ladies are all well and good, but really nothing can beat Big Daddy from the Tiny Toons How I Spent My Summer Vacation. I think characters like that, seeing them back when I was a kid, is probably where I got my interest in Southern accents. That is my Achilles heel. If a character has a Southern accent, I'm I'm ruined. Fran Barra asks, favorite European cartoon? Wow, that is a good question. Give me just a second. Never mind, I know the answer. Uh, Let me see if I can find a clip real quick for you guys. Okay, Okay, I love this show. So this is the 1983-84 Alice in Wonderland. This is a joint, I believe, Germany and UK production. And it is just like the best thing I've ever seen.
Let the audience begin.
You may approach Your Majesty the Queen.
My dear friend. Oh, no, that's all I need. Soldiers, close the doors at once.
I just can't get over that. Yeah, this whole show is on YouTube, so you guys can definitely check it out when you get a chance. It just has some really good comedic timing and really good, I don't know, sincerity. It's nice. Yeah, things that are too self-referential and sarcastic are not really my thing. In fact, I think they're indicative of a negative trend for film and television altogether, because everything is kind of banking on this idea of multiverses and referencing itself, referencing its other properties, and it's just this kind of giant fractal horror vacuum of corporate interest devouring itself as a endless Ouroboros of advertisement. So I try to be aware that even though these characters are in animated films, they're still corporate products, and I don't really go to bat for them, let's say. Okay, I think I have a couple more. What's the weirdest furry commercial that you found? Gosh, I think I posted it, but I'll get it for you again anyways. So this is my chance to make everyone watch the commercials that I want them to watch.
เรียกแรงม้าที่อู้งานให้กลับมาทำงานเต็มพลังด้วย PTT Max 91 จากปตท.
Okay, so that is an ad for something called PTT Max. That's from Thailand in 2001. And if you had singing, karaoke, horse animatronics on your bingo card for this live Q&A, go ahead and check it off. Yeah, so I posted that one. It's one of the weirder ones that I've seen, but really they're all insanely weird. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of commercials get very weird, especially the newer they become. Yeah, Shy Guy, the German intro for Alice is a banger, but I don't want to get this this video pulled by the censors. Jackie asks, which species do you think are weirdly underrepresented in media? That's a very good question. Underrepresented. Well, okay. I'll share something interesting with you. So, people here have probably seen shows like movies like Catnapped, shows like Sherlock Hound or The Three Muskehounds. There are a lot of shows where it's like uh, a setting and everyone is a cat, or a setting and everyone is a dog. And I guess that's because cats and dogs are the animals that are closest to humans, so therefore we do this kind of, oh, what if they had a society kind of thing. And it's interesting that we don't do that with any other animal. We sometimes do it with mice, especially if it's like a fantasy setting. For some reason, if you want to have a fantasy setting with furries, you are only allowed to have them be mice, and then also it's only allowed to be for children. That seems to be the way that mass media is approaching that question. But I really kind of wonder, like, where are the shows where it's a world of different breeds of horse or different breeds of cow? These are animals that humans also have a close relationship with. And you don't really see it the same way you do cat and dog shows. So go figure. Autobot Canine asks, by the way, what animal are you supposed to be? Well, I am a wolf. At least until I'm a cow. Moo. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, let me see if we've got more questions in the chat. A Sidonia 150 Reborn asks, have you ever seen the Winjin Palm or Round the Bend? Both furry puppet shows, both on YouTube in full. Great recommendations. I have seen Round the Bend. That's like an alligator themed puppet show. Very much in the vein of Wolf It, which is another British produced 90s puppet show. The Winjin Palm I haven't heard of. I'll have to look that up. Ever heard about Bally asks, ever heard of the obscure Hungarian film Cat City? Have you ever heard of the obscure Hungarian film Cat City 2? That's right. They made a sequel. Cat City is another great example of what I was talking about, where they have a movie where everyone in the movie is a cat. It's just kind of like an interesting thing that we don't do too much with other animals. You never see a show where every single person is a fox, for example. Yeah, I love Cat City. In fact, I used it in an episode, a compilation for Furry Found Footage about 7 or 8 years ago. Has the wonderful song that I'm not going to play for copyright strike reasons, Pussy Talk. Look it up if you haven't seen it, haven't heard it. Fran Berra asks, any thoughts on Blinky Bill's Daisy Dingo? I have had some people leave comments talking about Daisy Dingo. She's cute and all, but I haven't seen enough of the show to really form much of an opinion. Blinky Bill is an interesting show because it has like 4 seasons, but they didn't come out back to back, and they changed significantly. Like the cast changes, the art style changes throughout the seasons. That's actually where that poodle clip comes from. If you guys have followed my Twitter, there's a clip of a poodle talking about her mistress over and over again. Mr. Wright asks, speaking of cats, did you watch or heard of Lackadaisy? Yeah, I've heard of Lackadaisy. I've met the creator at a con back when she was smaller. I think it's great. I'm glad it's getting moving forward with its animation. Captain Kane asks, have you heard of classic Russian cartoon New Pagodi? Yeah, I have heard of New Pagodi. I've watched New Pagodi. A friend of mine from Russia is actually a really intense collector of New Pagodi like goods and materials. So he's got a crazy collection of like 60s Soviet wood carvings and enamel pins and buttons and crazy things like that. Who did the artwork for the thumbnail? Asks Autobot Canine. What artwork do you mean? Oh, for the video thumbnail? That was me. I did a draw over of a screenshot from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. For those of you who don't remember, that was a cartoon in 1983, aired on CBS. Amazing cartoon, amazing story. The villain Venger has a younger sister. I forget her name. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. But she's my favorite character because she starts out all sweet and innocent, and then it's revealed that she has like fangs and can cast magic like Venger. It's really amazing. The Sonic and Tails channel asks, what do you think about the raccoons? I love the raccoons. I love their theme song. The theme song is probably one of the best in cartoon history. I need to rewatch it because it's been a long time. But yeah, they're awesome. Bally asks, have you heard of Jungle Duret Hugo? Yes, Bally, I've seen both movies, and I have posted actually as a clip from the first Hugo movie on the Twitter. King Kaiju asks, might be controversial, so no pressure to answer, but thoughts on Fritz the Cat? I'm glad you asked, because I did just rewatch Fritz the Cat recently. Fritz the Cat is a great example of a product of its time. If you're looking for a point of view in the 60s, about the 60s and the 70s, that you're not going to get from a major source, from the industry leaders of the world, go ahead and check out that movie. Ralph Bakshi is a really interesting character. I'm very happy he's living happily ever after with a cat that he tweets about. Yeah, it's an interesting film that still has worth in this day and age, if only because it's such a time capsule of its time. Super Special World asks, have you ever heard of Waldo Kitty? Waldo Kitty sounds really familiar, but I can't conjure up what he is. Autobot K9 asks, have you ever watched the original Transformers cartoon? Yes, I cut my teeth watching the original movie as a child. Probably saw it when I was like 4. Let me just wrap up with these last few questions here. Sorting algorithms, go right ahead. Anyone else have a last minute question about the show, about some of the episodes that I've done, about some of the tweets that I've posted, or about me or my interests? Feel free to ask real quick. Fair enough. Sorting algorithms, feel free to DM me. Bally asks, how did you learn about Brian Swords of York, the great Biohazard, a foundational furry artist whose work, whose paintings were sold on a on a now famous Call-In Gallery show. So I actually learned about that way before Last Week Tonight. That's the show where, what's his name? Former Daily Show alumni. John Oliver did a whole bit about Brian Swords of York. So that was something that I discovered on YouTube, maybe about 10 years ago. Actually, clips from that made it into one of the original Furry Found Footage clip shows, which I need to make available again. We used to sell DVDs, but I've got to put them on online somewhere. Probably not on here, because last time they were on here, YouTube pulled them because they have so many little 5-second clips of content from various shows that there's bound to be one that YouTube hates. So, Fran Barra asks, Simba Jr., New York City. I'm very well acquainted with Mondo, including the infamous nipple torture scene in their Pocahontas cartoon. Autobot Canine asks, how old am I? Autobot, if you check my Twitter, I am in my 30s. Do you ever try to collab with fans from Unusual Bug? Yeah, I mean, if people want to reach out to me, I'll judge, every offer on a case-by-case basis. Thank you, Sarchosis. It's been about an hour. Thank you so much for all the questions. You guys really kind of came rapid fire with them at the end there, so very good job. I have a last question here. Jolt Jackalope, what do you mean by that? How little have I been a furry? Do you mean how long? Oh, gosh. If you mean how long I've been a furry, since 2002, and so has Aurelina. King Kaiju, me and my friends have been watching your Furry Found Footage volumes. See, they do exist. And have been asked what the guy who keeps deep frying his jewelry is from. The guy who keeps deep frying his jewelry is from a movie called Eat and Run. It's kind of like a sci-fi horror comedy, and it is incredible. If you can find it, definitely watch the whole thing. That's Eat and Run. It's from, I think it's from the mid to late 80s. Fran Barra, definitely feel free. With that, I'm going to wrap up this comic. I'm going to wrap up this Q&A. No more questions for now. But I really appreciate all you guys coming and checking out my channel, supporting me on Twitter. And hopefully when we reach, 20,000, 50,000 followers, I'll do another one of these. I also really want to try streaming more on Twitch, but there's all these issues with content moderation. So if I do stream something on Twitch, it's going to likely be something very obscure that no one's going to try and do a copyright strike on. So if you're interested in hearing more about that in the future, I definitely encourage you to follow my Twitter. That's at Furry Footage on Twitter. And feel free to ask questions in my DMs if you guys have got some more burning questions. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for showing up and supporting the channel, and I will see you all next time. This has been your Dark Sorceress, Aurelina, signing out. And what the heck, for those of you who stick around extra long, you get to see the big Aurelina. Okay, that's enough of that.